All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, and thanks everyone for joining our webinar today at Great Garment Graphics. My name is Jody Weiler, and I will be presenting today what are precuts and how can they help my business. We typically start off with some polls. There's just a couple things I would like to know about the audience. So we'll start off with that right away. And the first one is, do you own a heat press? So it looks like everyone voted, and so far everyone in the webinar does in fact own a heat press. And our next one, this is a question I'm really curious about if you own a vinyl cutter. And the one thing that I think those of us that own a vinyl cutter think that maybe it's better for us to cut everything in-house and that there's really no need to stack pre-cuts. And I hope we'll see today that it does look like some of you don't own a vinyl cutter, which is a great place for pre-cuts to fit into your business. But also, if you do own a vinyl cutter, you may find that stacking pre-cuts in the most popular colors, also a lot of bling materials, which can be expensive to buy, and it's material that you don't want to waste, particularly if you're cutting numbers. Because numbers typically, they take up a lot of space. We're cutting 6-inch, 8-inch, 12-inch numbers, and you get a lot of material waste that way. So in order to eliminate the process of taking the time to cut, and then taking the time to weed, and then looking at all of the extra material that's uncut and wasted, this is a really good place where pre-cuts may come in and offer some cost savings for you. So it looks like most of our audience does own a cutter, but some of you don't. And so if you're new to the business, pre-cuts are by far, I would say, the easiest way to get up and running without what do I want to say, without a lot of overhead, without kind of having to order a lot of different materials in, and without having to buy a vinyl cutter. And it looks like, wow, I'm shocked. The question, I'm sure everybody can see, but do you currently stock any type of pre-cuts? And it looks like everybody's voted, and most of you don't stock pre-cut numbers and letters. So I would say that most of you who don't stock any are those that own a vinyl cutter and are in that process of kind of like cutting and weeding everything. So hopefully we'll see today that that both can benefit your business, most certainly. And then finally, here's a question I've been wondering about for a while. I've seen it here in our business, and I wonder if you as business owners have seen it as well. And that is, has your business seen a rise in sort of bling and in the demand for bling and rhinestone type materials? And so far, well, we only have 30% that have voted, but it does look like a lot of you have. Some of you have seen a small rise in it. But it looks like nobody has seen no demand, which is definitely what I've noticed here in our industry, that sort of that demand when we go to trade shows, that demand for kind of this bling effect. And even when I go to the mall or I go out to dinner, I mean, I'm seeing men wearing blingy type button-down shirts that look great. And I always want to, you know, kind of get real close and figure out, like, is that silk screened? Has that been heat applied? But I'm sure you guys do the same thing too. It's just kind of the nature of the business. So with that, we'll get started. And our agenda today is, you know, what are pre-cuts? And also, one thing I do want to say, if any of you have any questions, feel free to type them in. I can see them on my answer board. And if I can answer them during the presentation, I will, if they seem to apply, while we're speaking, and I'll address them then. And if not, we'll definitely get to them at the end of the session. I'm hoping not to take up a ton of time today. I don't think this will take a full hour. I know everybody's time is valuable. And sometimes if we can get a lot of information in a short span of time is kind of better than sort of trying to drag it out. So today we're going to talk about what are precuts, why precuts, why would I even want to stock and order precuts, and then once I decide I want to stock precuts, then what is it that I can decorate with precuts? How do I apply precut letters and numbers, and then what colors and styles are the best to stock? So the question is, we have a big question mark here, what are precuts? And generally, precut letters are cut from steel dies, and they're sold in sort of refill packs or kits, making them a super economical way to decorate. Precut letters also, they're different in the way of cutting with your vinyl cutter in a CAD cut material because you cut it all out and it's already pre-placed. But precut letters offer you the option of sort of individually placing a layout. So you don't have to go straight across, and you don't have to kind of get into your CADWorks Live or your Corel Draw in order to create these intricate designs, because you can simply lay them out however you want. Now, if you want to lay out, typically for jerseys, if you want to lay out in an arch style or a straight across style, using pre-cut layout letterboards are really the best way to do that. And actually, we'll see a video a little bit later in this presentation where we'll show you exactly how to do that. And the interesting thing, the great thing about precuts is that they're available in several different medias. And so we have them available in heat transfer vinyl, and that doesn't just mean thermofilm for polyester and cotton. You can get them in Gorilla Grip, in super film, which is great for nylon, also for performance wear. And if you're looking for twill, we do have precuts available in SimStitch, which is an already precut twill that's been cut in a laser, and you can see it in your lower right-hand corner, Dakota 08. That's actually a SimStitch. So if we were to look at that really close, it looks like it's been sewn on. So for those of you that only have a heat press or only have a heat press and a vinyl cutter, you can also get that look of embroidery that your customers are asking for without having to contract out your embroidery work. And the way that SimStitch is done is it's actually cut with a laser, and it has a simulated zigzag stitching. So all you need is to apply it with a heat press. So that opens up a whole nother market for you. And in the bottom left-hand corner, we see because of the demand for glitter flake and specialty materials, precuts are now available in glitter flake, in hologram, and in other type of specialty materials that your customers seem to be demanding. It's not enough just to have red, white, navy anymore. And I'm a huge sports fan, and the more I watch pro and high school and college sports, and I watch a lot of it, I can see this even translating into the sort of this fashion trend with bling that's translated over into the sporting world. And so the next question is, why precuts? Why would I want to, if I'm a new business owner and I only have a heat press, how are precuts going to benefit me? And if I own a vinyl cutter, why would I stop cutting my letters and numbers and stock precuts? And the thing is that precuts are definitely a no-mess way. So when we talk about no mess, I cut on a vinyl cutter all the time. And when I say no mess, I mean, you eliminate a lot of waste, you eliminate the need to weed, so it does save you time and labor between cutting on your vinyl cutter and then weeding and then cutting everything into individual pieces or individual sort of orders. And this way, if somebody walks in to your shop, or if you get that last minute order, you don't have to say, well, I have to cut it and weed it. You know what I mean? It's going to be 24 hours. I have it right here. I can apply a name and a number. Oh, we have Hanson Family Reunion. I've got that for you. And then maybe you only need to cut the design on your vinyl cutter. It's also, if you're new into the business and have just invested in the heat press, it's definitely the easiest way to get your business off the ground because you don't have to invest in a cutter in order to get the job done. And we can see in the images, all of these were done with precuts. The top image of event staff is done with 3M reflective precuts, and then the striping is done with 3M reflective strips, which are just sold in a strip, and you cut them and you heat apply. So there's a whole new market without necessarily having to get all that waste. And those of you who have a vinyl cutter can see, like cutting those strips, you're going to get however many, obviously you would nest them appropriately, but if you were just cutting that whole design, you can see where you kind of have a lot of that waste, and so you can eliminate, I mean, that's dollars and cents that is just kind of weeded off and thrown in the trash, or maybe, you know, saved for a scrap piece for a later day. And the Living the Dream, that was all done in precuts. Every single letter in that was done with precuts. And at the bottom, the All Girl Cutie, those are actually flock precuts for the All Girl, and those are precut stars. And then the Cutie was applied, I believe those are thermofilm on those shorts. And so, again, reiterating that point of walk-ins and last-minute orders, you know, I don't have to say, well, I have to cut it, or I have to order out, or I have to get the order in, because if you have stocked pre-cut letters and numbers, then you can say absolutely yes, and you can deliver it probably faster than the guy down the street. And the nice thing, too, is it also allows you flexibility, which we've also seen, in order to offer a large selection, such as glitter flake and 3M reflective, twill, felt, and also the distressed pre-cut lettering, which is actually going to, I don't know if you guys have seen the distressed pre-cut lettering on the Stalls ID website, but it will be reemerging in July just in time for the fall. And what that is actually distressed lettering that's been cut and layered, or it is actually just one color chino twill that you simply heat apply. And so again, it's offering that look of embroidery with simply using your heat press. So what are some of the things I can decorate with pre-cuts? You know, I don't know. And in my next slide, I thought I'd add a little funny in here, and really just to reiterate that point that the options are absolutely limitless. So as many stars in the sky are things that I can decorate with pre-cuts. Infinity, we have the infinity symbol. And then we have my all-time personal favorite, Forrest Gump, who just ran until he couldn't run anymore. And the reporter wants to know, hey, Forrest, what can you decorate with pre-cuts? And Forrest says, I'm just going to keep running, and you can decorate whatever you want. So team uniforms, and a lot of these images definitely reflect that is an actual team who has the 3M reflective. You can see he's playing under the lights in a night game, and everybody can see who our pitcher is, what his name is, what number he is, because he's actually wearing a 3M reflective name and number that's actually a two-color. And then we have volleyball, and also, you know, our famous football. And so if we were to look at the number 34, those are like 10 to 12 inch numbers. And so if you think about cutting that, how that's at least a 5-10 yard roll that you're going to go through to cut those numbers. And so one suggestion I often make to business owners who particularly own a vinyl cutter is cut the names in vinyl. And that way you're nesting just fine, you're not getting a lot of waste, and then stock those pre-cuts or order the pre-cuts in order to number your team. And you're paying something like, I want to say like 12 cents a number. It may even be less. And you will find, I think, between cutting and weeding and sort of all the material that you use, that it's a lot more when you're actually cutting your numbers. So for those of you with a vinyl cutter, when you start combining, you'll see that you're saving time, you're eliminating waste, and you're saving labor. And definitely fanware. All of these designs have been done with pre-cuts. And the Irvine High School, that's actually done with the pre-sewn distressed. And so you can see that it has that look of being sewn, or that distressed look, and that's simply been applied with the heat press. And we have the glitter flake, which are available in all the colors of glitter flake. And you can see decorating fanware is easy with pre-cuts. As we discussed before, work and safety wear. So all of these have been done. That vendor is actually done in Superfilm. That's Superfilm precuts in ProBlock. And the staff is 3M Reflective Letters, again with the striping, and so is event staff. And one thing I did notice, I actually worked in customer service at Stalls ID Direct for a long time. And over the past few years have seen so many of my customers have more and more demand for just these simple sort of designs: event staff, fire, police, volunteer fire staff. I've seen that go up incredibly. And the thing with that is when you can offer the 3M reflective, you can definitely you're offering your customers a product that is actually required by with their safety regulations, because it actually meets all of those safety requirements. For those of you that are looking into the Greek, there are several precuts offered. That Phi Chai is done in precuts, and that was applied to a hat. All of these are precut letters and numbers. None of these have been cut on a vinyl cutter. And one thing to remember, if you are looking to market to the Greek community, if you have fraternities, sororities, if you live in a college town, you definitely do need to be licensed by the Greek community in order to sell those. But Greek is offered in SimStitch, which is again that sewn look, the twill look that we talked about earlier. And it's available in all of our materials, including the glitter flake bling, which you can see is really popular with sororities, and also just regular twill letters for those of you that do have sewing capabilities, that you could order the precuts in twill and simply heat apply them and then sew either a zigzag or satin stitching in order to finish them off. Children's wear, we can see the girl on the right in the two dance, she has a rhinestone transfer, but those are actually pre-cut hologram in the purple. And so if you were to look really closely, if you can see that she also has that bling effect, but it's not glitter flake. It's what's called hologram. And then of course the Nana Loves Me Best, and that's just simply done in some 1-inch pre-cuts. And then we also have fashion and retail, and you can see the designs here that are done in fashion and retail. And we just actually did relating to precuts on our Stalls ID blog. There's a blog post, and there's actually a link in here if you wanted to come back to the PDFs and read it. But it's actually a story about how somebody sort of made a rude comment, and it was kind of turned into this thing at a hockey game, and the next day a photo was taken. I mean, because in the world of Twitter, that news gets out so fast, and so by the next day at the next game, here's an image of somebody who is wearing that shirt. It wasn't me making that rude comment, with hashtag rude comment. That was done with precuts, and you can turn that over in 24 hours or less. And so it's kind of, you can keep up with everything that's going on and those last minute orders if you're stocking precuts. And then also accessories. Every single one of these accessories have been done with precuts. The stuff, the windjammer, that beach towel was actually all precuts. You can see it says Beach Weekend 2012. And again, that Greek bag was done in SimStitch. So it has this finished look, and you've provided something, and these probably cost less than $1 to, to heat apply. And so what is the best way to apply precuts? So you've decided that you may want to stock precuts and sort of add them. And another thing I did want to mention is that we just did a webinar last year on going mobile, and going mobile with your heat press and adding precuts to that is definitely the easiest way, especially now that you have sort of these bling materials available to you. And so you can offer something, you can personalize on demand, take your heat press to an event, whether it's a sporting event, a fan wear event, a family reunion, children's birthday parties, all of the above, and bring precuts with you and personalize right there on demand with sayings that aren't even names, nicknames, certain sayings that whatever your attendees want. And the easiest way is you pick out your letters, you place them on, and you press it. And I'm actually going to show you how to do that. We have a video. You won't actually be able to hear here we go. You won't actually be able to hear the video, but I do have a link to it, but I'll kind of talk everybody through it. So the easiest way is to use layout boards.
Cardboard layout templates are lettering guides that aid in the placement of lettering and numbering. To begin, tape the layout board to a table or countertop to keep it protected.
And you can see, you just lay out the layout board, you tape it to a countertop, and those are all spaced. So you just lay them out with your desired spacing. Everything gets evenly spaced. And I know a lot of times I've had people say, you know, they're nervous about using precuts because they're afraid that things aren't going to line up properly. And this is definitely the best way. And then that's actually pre-mass tape. That's actually sold at Stalls ID Direct. You can put it right under your heat press. Everything's lined up nice. And then you simply attach it to the pre-mass tape, and you have a pre-spaced, pre-aligned name. And then you just pull it up, and then you place it on the garment, wherever, in any placement you want, and then you heat apply, and it's just that simple. So what colors and styles do I stock when it comes to precuts? And that's really the biggest question, right? Because I know as a business owner, you don't want to stock a bunch of things that aren't going to sell. And so we actually did the work for you, and we took a survey. Now, this was taken a few months ago, and what I think probably what I'd like to do is retake this survey now that we have bling materials available. But the most popular materials that you can definitely be safe stocking precuts, and this is particularly for sporting events and for team wear and fan wear. But thermofilm is absolutely positively the #1 heat selling vinyl material in the world. And that is for a plethora of reasons. It's abrasion resistant, and it also keeps your whites white. So you can eliminate dye migration with using the thermofilm. So if you're applying white letters onto a red jersey, a red polyester basketball jersey, thermofilm definitely will stop that dye migration if heat applied correctly, and white stay white, and your jersey's going to stay red. Polytool would be the second most popular in precuts, and that's what I was telling you, that if you have sewing capabilities, Polytool does need to be sewn, so you could either contract those out, but you can order precuts, heat apply them, and if you have sewing capabilities, if you're hand sewing, then you could simply sew, you know, with your sewing machine, either a satin or a zigzag stitch in order to prevent fraying. Thermogrip is the third best selling, and you would definitely want to use that if you have not a lot of nylon, but some nylon in your material. And then thermoflock is huge with soccer. And then finally vinyl, which is still ever popular, believe it or not, in football, particularly for practice jerseys. So the top 5 fonts that you would definitely be want to stock would be Pro Block and Varsity would definitely be number 1, and Pro Block actually blows Varsity away. So Pro Block is number 1, and then Varsity, and then followed by Team US, which is actually really popular in the soccer community, followed by Cooper, which is, you know, you can get a little fancy, and then Tiffany, you can see just by the font alone that that's huge in the baseball community. And then the top 5 sizes, 2-inch, most of our names are required 2-inch for Little League, and, well, for adult, for Little League, and for high school and college and pro. So 2-inch names, and then the 8-inch and the 6-inch typically would be numbers. So those are definitely the most popular numbers. The 4-inch you would want to stock for baseball season. Those are going to go on your left front typically, or on a sleeve. Those are typically baseball numbers. Or Little League for kids, they often stock either 4-inch or 6-inch numbers. And then 3-inch too is really popular with football. So in the fall, you'll definitely want to get in on those 2-inch and 3-inch numbers. or excuse me, 2-inch and 3-inch letters, and those 8-inch and really even 10-inch numbers, depending on if you're decorating for football or excuse me, for high school or little league. And then our top 5 colors, hands down, white, black, red, navy, and gold. And one thing that would help you is to just kind of what local schools are in your area and what are their school colors. I'm actually doing a design for a friend of mine who's a softball coach, and I'm doing it in precuts, glitter flake, and her school colors are red, white, and blue. So I'm doing a design that's all letters and numbers. Her students' names is just like 9 jerseys for the end of the year, just a little takeaway that she wants to give to them in navy and red pre-cuts. And so since I only had 9 jerseys to do, it was easy just to order the packs and the letters and, you know, get her done. Took me a little less than an afternoon to finish that job. And I did just have a question, and yes, you can heat apply to the tape. That both of those tapes you saw in there in the video, the skinny blue tape is called thermo tape. That's actually perfect for holding down if you're actually going to try like putting the letters on the jersey. Thermo tape is perfect for that. And then the thick stuff that looks like paper, it almost looks like masking tape, we call that pre-mask tape. And at the end of let's go to the website and I can show you where to find that. It's under accessories on the stallsid.com website. So if you go to stallsid.com, it looks like everybody can see. And here we have the pre-mask tape. You can see my cursor. And then we have thermo tape. And both of these are heat-resistant tapes that you want to keep in stock. And then, of course, storage boxes for your pre-cuts. Here's the layout board. So everything you want to find, you can find under heat printing accessories. And all of these together may cost you like $25, $30 total to have these in stock in order to apply your pre-cuts. So are you ready to get heat printing? And the answer is yes. We have the yes man. And good news. So for today and tomorrow, the promo ends on the 31st. We have buy 2 pre-cut glitter flake pre-cut kits and get 1 free. And these each include a storage box. So you won't have to purchase the storage box to go with it. So every single glitter flake color, every single size, and every single font, you can buy 2, get 1 free. And if you go to the Stall's website on the home page, there's a link to it, and it looks just like what you're seeing here. So I would like to thank anybody for attending. I did answer the one question that came in. If any of you have any other questions regarding pre-cuts or how you think that pre-cuts could help your business or any way that you can incorporate pre-cuts with your vinyl cutter, I will be happy to answer those questions because we definitely have time. But until then, we're going to have Josh next Thursday, June 6th, for a Stepping into New Profits, customizing footwear with a heat press. And the cool thing about this webinar is that he's going to be showing a shoe platen where you can start customizing footwear. And it's just an additional platen for the heat press that you already own if you own a Hottronics heat press. And you can start decorating shoes. So on top of decorating what you're already decorating, you can add this. You can add, you know, another facet to your business. So I just had a question. Bobby wants to know if there's issues with running out of some letters or numbers before others and how many of each letter are included. So when you order the kit, there are actually more of the most popular letters and less of the least popular letters. So we've actually done the research for you and included more of, you know, S's and M's in your vowels and less of the letters like, let's say, your V's that are not so popular. And so the nice thing about that is when you get low in stock, because you have them already pre-organized in a box that are already, you know, each letter has its own individual place inside of the box. You know when you're getting low, and then all you have to do is order refill packs. in order to keep your stock up. But when you start off ordering a kit, it is not the same numbers and letters, the same amount of numbers and letters that actually come in the kit. There are more of your more popular letters and less of your less popular letters in order to accommodate, the S's and the T's and everything else. And so we've kind of already done that work for you. So if you're not already stocking precuts, I would say your best bet is to order a kit. Just start off ordering a couple kits. Think about what schools are in your area. Think about what colors you want to stock and order some kits. And, and like right now, today and tomorrow, you can buy 2 kits and get 1 free. And that's not all. It's not like if you order blue, you have to have all blue. You can vary your colors and styles. Just get started with those kind of core colors. I will also be posting this video tomorrow. Within 24 hours, typically, we air the video. I will also post the PDF of the slides. So if you want to download the slides and access any of the links that I've included, then we will do that as well. And then you can always access this even next week in our archived webinar tab at greatgarmentgraphics.com. And so I wanted to thank everybody for your time today, and thank you so much for attending. Join our educational community. Go to greatgarmentgraphics.com and sign up to receive our blog, which even if you don't register for our webinars, you will receive a blog post of each webinar that's been hosted. If you want to sit down and watch the video at your leisure time, or if you just want to view the PDF of the slides, you can do that. At Great Garment Graphics, you can also view our archived webinars, and then, of course, you can register for your next webinar in order to see Josh stepping into New Profits. So once again, thank you so much, and everyone have a great day.